Yes, indeed. President Cyril Ramaphosa is in Ghana on a working visit. The president met the Ghanaian President Nana Akufoo-ado and then held a bilateral summit. Ramaphosa's West African visit comes ahead of South Africa assuming the chairmanship of the African Union in 2020. The AU theme is silencing the guns. In 2020, South Africa is one of the largest foreign direct investors in Ghana, mainly in mining, communications, beverages, retail and franchising. Several South African companies operate in Ghana, including telecommunications giant MTN, Anglo Gold Ashanti, Shoprite, Goldfields, Standard Bank, First National Bank, Barclays, Absa, as well as MultiChoice and South African Airways. And let's go to Sarah Kimani, who joins us from Ghana. Good evening, Sarah, and welcome to The Full View. The president lauding and saying that a lot of people coming from Ghana are actually visiting South Africa.
Indeed, he spoke about 21,000 visitors who came into South Africa last year from Ghana, saying that is a huge increase in terms of percentages. And he says most of those who came were either tourists or intellectuals coming to seek education in higher education institutions in South Africa. And he says he expects that number will even be higher this year, and because South Africa has now opened its doors and also relaxed its visa regime, so that if you're coming to study, if you're coming for business, or if you're a tourist, then it will be easier for you to get into South Africa. Those are just one of the main issues that he said, but also quite significant. During the Joint Business Council this afternoon, South Africa's Transnet has signed an agreement with Ghana's Railway Development Authority and Ghana's Railway Corporation, in which Transnet will help to renovate, to also improve the Ghana railway services here in this country. They'll also be selling to them locomotives and wagons, and they will also train staff from the Ghana Railway Corporation and also manage the railway line, although we do not as yet know for how long Transnet will manage the railway line here.
South Africa, currently there's an announcement from Eskom that we are going through stage 2 load shedding. Was there any conversation whatsoever between the two heads of state, or their entourage at least, around how Ghana can assist South Africa in terms of how they've been able to transcend this issue around blackouts in their country?
No, they did not speak directly about power rationing or issues of energy. However, they spoke about ease of doing business and what the continent needs to do to create environments that are easier for government, for business people to be able to do business across the continent in any country. They talked about the need to improve infrastructure, including the power infrastructure. They also talked about the need to improve other infrastructure like connectivity between countries. But they did not specifically talk about Eskom or about what Ghana has done differently to be able to contain power rationing.
Silencing the guns in 2020, is that really possible?
Well, I asked President Ramaphosa, 2020 is just less than 30 days away, and this African Union had set itself a target to silence the guns by 2020. The guns have not silenced in the Sahel region, in the West African region where we are, in neighboring Nigeria, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali. And when you go to the East African region, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia. So I asked him if indeed this was practical and if there was need for Africa maybe to relook its target. And he said silencing the guns does not mean that it will go silent immediately, but he says the fact that those people who are warring, the warring factions in various conflicts on the continent, are agreed to sitting down around a table to discuss their issues. He says the fact that peace agreements have been signed, for example, between Ethiopia and Eritrea. He says that is a sign that indeed leaders on the continent are determined to see a peaceful continent. He says it is a process, and he is confident that this process has started well, and he says he will be steering it ahead during South Africa's tenure as the chairperson of the African Union.
Sarah Kimani, thank you so much for your time. We go to a quick ad break, and when we come back, we continue with The Full View.